Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, SoundCloud, SoundClick, Instagram. I'll be on the gram. My also watch. Boom. Yo, I was thinking last night. This is another extension of the NBA's fix, and I was thinking last night. I looked up some LeBron stats, and they were saying how much he's made while he was in the NBA, and I forgot what that stat was. But one stat that really rang out to me was how much how much revenue he bring into Cleveland, and this is one reason why I think they won against pretty much all odds. Uh, they won because it was scripted for them to win, and this is one reason why I was talking about what revenue he can bring into the city in my other videos, and the reason why it's scripted. But it goes all the way back to Nike. So let me start off with saying that, for one, Nike or Nikkei basically comes from, I guess, the Roman era when there was the Battle of Thermopylae, I think, or something like that. Somebody will look it up. And one of the individuals had to run 26 miles back to tell the Trojans that the Persian Empire was about to attack, and when he ran there, he said Nikkei, and he died. Something like that. It's something to that order. Some 4.50 grade point average dude to get on here and tell me what it is, and I appreciate that. That's fine. But nonetheless, so that's where Nike came from, and so there that is. But nonetheless, the Nike organization, what they do is they go to Africa and they get these runners, and they're kids. I mean, they try to get the fastest kids, and they have these huge camps that are out there for runners, and I'm okay with that. They go all over the planet and they do this, and I'm okay with that. Give them shoes, and a lot of these kids run without shoes, and they just let them run without shoes. They're fast as heck. But then, once they get them into the system, they get them all their provisions and so on and so forth. And Nike is like it's on a global scale, and it's doing a lot of intricate things to keep their revenue and keep the face of Nike present and prevalent. That's why I'm bringing up all this stuff, because it's deeper than sports, is where I'm going with this. But nonetheless, so this is some of the things they do. They try to get you when you're a kid now. And we'd never heard of this when we were growing up. It was like once you get into college and then you get into a professional sport, then you're really, intertwined into the system. But now they get you when they're kids. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the farming that they do. So nonetheless, and they do this in a lot of different countries, but Africa, I know they do this, and this is one reason why they have their eye on LeBron's 10-year-old child already. He's already got offers to go to colleges already, full scholarship. And LeBron is like, yo, you got to chill with my kid, let him be a kid. But nonetheless, they do that all over the planet. So anyways, so bringing it on here, Nike is ran by what I I think they're the Jewish people. I think they own Nike. But they own a lot of course, Hollywood, and so on and so forth. And this is why you see in Hollywood they have they love to have slave movies, and they love to have you know uh, they love to constantly talk about how great white people are over black people. The white man frees the slaves and all this other stuff. They love to do that. That's why I don't watch any slave movie. But nonetheless, and then you have, where they don't want to give black people their due for, their awards and stuff. And I don't really care about that, but it's so obvious. But these people run different sections of our entertainment system, and that's where I'm going with this. And the NBA is just a small part of a large piece of pie. It's the NBA, it's the media, the sports, the movies is constant, putting things in your face, like even stuff that even little innuendos, you just got to pick up, like in Transformers, like 3 or something. They had these two Autobots who seemingly had big lips and they said that they don't read. It was supposed to be black people saying that black people don't read. And I was like, what, did y'all just do that? But yeah, they do it. This is why Quentin Tarantino gets away what he gets away with. Anyway, so it's sports entertainment system. But anyway, bring it on to Nike. So they're run by the Jewish people, not the Jews. And so it's what I'm saying. It's all controlled. So bringing it back to LeBron, but before I get there, let me go to Michael Jordan. So when you look at Michael Jordan's wins, look at how Michael Jordan was constantly in your face, what, 15, 20 years ago? Look at how, I mean, what they did with Jordan is they pretty much brought him up, once he made that shot in North Carolina, I believe. He got into the NBA. He started doing his thing. Nike started pushing their shoes. Then they made him the face of Nike, pretty much. Then he was on a Wheaties box. Same thing with Steph Curry, but Steph Curry doesn't represent Nikes. But nonetheless, there's been a lot of Nike people on the cover of Wheaties box. Nonetheless, next thing you know, Jordan's on the cover of Wheaties. There's a lot of people on the cover of Wheaties, not necessarily have to do with Nikes, but nonetheless, it's another form of media to get kids to look at who's on there, is what I'm saying. So then Jordan is in, and then they made a power move, and they put Jordan into the movies, freaking Space Jams. And it's just like, and then he had I Want to Be Like Mike, and then you had Mike's endorsements, Gatorade, freaking Oscar Mayer hot dogs, doggone anything that has to do with sports, anything that has to do with kids watch Space Jam, kids eat Oscar Mayer hot dogs, uh, um, uh, kids wear Fruit of the Looms. You know what I'm saying? That's all Michael. You know what I'm saying? Or it was a Hanes, and I think it was one of the other Hanes or Fruit of the Looms. Those were the two big brands back then. So that's all Michael Jordan. That's all catered towards the younger crowd coming up. And then the song "I Want to Be Like Mike" is just ridiculous. It just went on and on and on and constantly pushing Mike and his championships over and over and over again. So it's no wonder why Michael won 6 championships. Yeah, was he the greatest basketball player? People would say yes, hands down. And that doesn't really matter. Because you see that Steph Curry is a great basketball player, but he made, what, 11 points in Game 7? He was throwing away the ball. He was shooting with one hand, missing foul shots. The greatest shooter of this time. He's the greatest shooter out there. And he made 11 points in Game 7. Even Charlamagne gave him Donkey of the Day. But you see what I mean? You see what I mean? So it didn't matter if Michael was the greatest. What mattered is Michael was the tag. He was the name. He was the face of Nike. And they just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it in any direction that they can where they knew a kid would watch. Cartoons. I mean, it's all kids. You know what I'm saying? It was what we drink. It was what we ate. It was all. It was in the food. It was just. You just got poisoned with Mike. I just got tired of it. And of course, the shoes and the clothing. And it's no wonder why he's a $1 billion man. His clothing was catered towards us and all that. And I never aspired to be like Mike. I was like, man, I'm good. But nonetheless, you see, now getting to LeBron, LeBron has been in the NBA since he was 18 years old. And listen, I'm from Akron. I know people from Akron. I just had a family reunion, and they was like, listen, when LeBron was in high school, he was driving around in a Hummer. Listen, LeBron was poor. His mother is crazy as heck. His mother was poor. They were poor people. They lived not far from my crib and my people. They all knew LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So it was, this dude was driving around in a Hummer, and they were all looking at him like, "Where'd you get the money?" You know what I'm saying? So they were already paying him. They already had him seasoned to go into the NBA, and they were already feeding him what he wanted in order for him to take that place of Michael Jordan and be the face of basketball. And you can't tell me that anybody else in basketball is more of the face representative of basketball than LeBron James, especially now. There is not one person out there. You can put Steph Curry in the White House all you want to. His stats still can't hold up to LeBron because LeBron's been doing it longer than he has. LeBron is the face of the NBA. And pretty soon there'll be another one once he goes out in about 5, 10 years, whatever. But you see what I'm saying? So if you get to what LeBron brings into Cleveland, they said it was $500 million in revenue. $500 million will build up half of a city in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, especially a dilapidated half. You know what I'm saying? You can tear down some buildings, put up some new projects, or, put up a couple houses, boom. You know what I'm saying? And keep the revenue coming in. But this is what he bring in like a year. Like soon as he came back, boom, $500 million. I mean, you let that sink in of how powerful Nike has made him. And this is why he gets all this praise, but this is why he plays the game. And they said that LeBron James will forever be immortalized. He will always be the king in Cleveland. You can't name me now one star who's bigger than LeBron James. You can't. You can't say Steph Curry. Even a two-time MVP, it doesn't matter. There's not one person out there who's bigger than LeBron James right now. And there's not one person out there who's more powerful than LeBron James, even before the championship. Even before that, you can't tell me there is. So this is just another extension of the NBA is fake, and is more of why the NBA does what it does. It's your boy Tone 202. Peace.